With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
All right. Ever wondered what really goes on inside a firehouse? Or what makes those first responders tick? We're about to find out. Today we're diving deep into the world of Chicago Fire, that long-running TV show about firefighters and paramedics in, well, Chicago. Now, sure, it's fiction, but the show draws on real experiences and tackles relatable human drama. Perfect for our deep dive today.
Absolutely.
We're going to learn what makes this show tick. Its characters, its themes, what makes it so gripping. And to help us separate the Hollywood sizzle from the real deal insights, we've got an expert with us.
Yeah, I'm excited to break it all down.
Ready to get fired up.
Definitely. You know, the intensity of Chicago Fire is just fascinating. It's not just about the adrenaline rush. It's about going deeper, exploring the lives of these first responders, the bonds they form, even the scars they carry.
They don't waste any time pulling you into that world either. Episode 1, you're thrown right into the controlled chaos of Firehouse 51. But it's more than just a backdrop, right?
Oh, absolutely. Firehouse 51 becomes this microcosm of the entire firefighting world. The writers use it to explore the camaraderie, the really intense bonds that develop when you face life or death situations every single day together.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a crucible where these bonds are forged, becoming, well, stronger than family in many ways.
You really see that, the way they celebrate victories together, how they mourn their losses, how they have each other's backs no matter what. And then you're introduced to this incredibly diverse group of characters, each with their own strengths and flaws and, baggage.
Exactly. And I think that's a big part of what makes Chicago Fire so interesting. You've got Casey, the stoic leader, dealing with all that responsibility and the weight of tough calls. Then there's Severide, a real daredevil. He masks vulnerability with, all that bravado.
Oh, Severide, always running into burning buildings. But I get the sense he's running from something deeper, too, right? Some of the research I read mentioned his recklessness almost seems like a way to self-medicate.
That's a great point. It highlights those psychological complexities the show explores so well, especially with PTSD. It's not always flashbacks and nightmares. Sometimes it shows up as risk-taking or even trouble connecting with people.
And they don't shy away from showing how it affects their personal lives. Like that scene where Casey completely shuts down emotionally. I think it was after a really brutal rescue. His partner, Gabby, tries to connect with him, but he can't or won't let her in.
That scene is so powerful because it shows how trauma from the job spills over into everything. It's not just about the physical danger. It's that heavy emotional burden they carry. And that can be so isolating, even for the people who love them.
It's true. You see it with Chief Bowden, too. He's the rock, that steady presence for everyone else. But you see the cracks, especially when he loses a member of his team. It's like even the strongest ones are vulnerable to that emotional fallout.
Without a doubt. And the writers use those moments to humanize them, showing us that being a hero doesn't make you immune to pain or grief. If anything, it makes their triumphs more inspiring because you know what they've overcome.
Speaking of triumphs, those rescue scenes, intense. There's one where they use the jaws of life to get someone out of a car wreck. And it shows the skill, the precision involved. It's not just brute force. It's strategy under pressure.
And it's interesting how Chicago Fire manages to show those details without letting the drama get bogged down. You learn about different techniques, the equipment, the dangers of backdrafts, and all while you're totally caught up in the characters' stories.
Yeah, it's like firefighting 101, but with, a big dose of human drama. And it's not just the firehouse crew. It's like they pull back the curtain and show you that whole ecosystem of emergency response.
Right. That's what I find fascinating about this whole Chicago franchise, actually. You see how the firefighters, the police, the medical professionals, they're all connected. What one does affects the others. It creates this really realistic, interconnected world, just like how emergency services actually collaborate.
Like that crossover event where a huge fire leads to a crime scene and then, bam, the victims end up at Chicago Med. It really shows you the scope, the complexity.
And it reinforces that in real life, these things don't happen in isolation. Emergencies involve so many different people working together. Sometimes they clash, sometimes they collaborate, but the goal is always to save lives and restore order.
But even beyond the crazy situations, Chicago Fire isn't afraid to show the less exciting but just as important stuff.
You're right. The show sheds light on all those things. The paperwork, budget issues, internal politics, things first responders have to deal with every day. It adds a level of realism and makes their struggles that much more complex.
Like that story where they're facing budget cuts. They're forced to make really tough choices about staffing and equipment. It makes you think about the real-world impact of those choices. How can these heroes do their jobs if they don't have what they need?
Exactly. It raises questions about how much we actually value these services and if we are giving enough support to the people risking their lives for us.
So we've got action, drama, real-world insights, even some social commentary, all woven into Chicago Fire. No wonder people have loved this show for so long. It's more than just entertainment. It's a window into a world most of us only see from a distance.
And that's what makes it so compelling, right? We connect with the people behind the heroism, we see the sacrifices, the complexities, and we gain a deeper appreciation for their dedication.
Well said. But what about the characters themselves? Such an interesting mix of personalities. I'd love to hear your take on some of those fan favorites.
I'm happy to dive into that. Let's start with Sylvie Brett, the paramedic, who brings a unique blend of compassion and strength to Firehouse 51. She's a fascinating character, Sylvie. She represents a different kind of strength, that quiet resilience you don't always see in these high-pressure jobs.
It's true. She's not running into burning buildings or throwing punches, but she's dealing with life and death situations every single day, comforting victims, making those split-second decisions in the ambulance. And she does it all with so much empathy, so much grace.
And what's interesting is how the writers show her vulnerabilities, too.
Yeah.
We see her self-doubt, her anxieties about making the right call, the emotional weight of seeing so much pain. It gets to her.
Like that episode where she can't shake the death of that young patient. Really shows how those losses affect even the most compassionate caregivers. And it brought up that conversation about mental health support for first responders, something we don't talk about enough, to be honest.
Absolutely. And then you have Joe Cruz. He brings this completely different energy to the Firehouse. He's like the heart and soul of that team, always there to lighten the mood.
Cruz, he's the one with the shoulder to cry on, the joke at just the right time. He's a great example of how humor can be a coping mechanism, in those high-stress situations. It's a way to deflect, to release tension, to remind everyone that there's still room for laughter, for camaraderie in the middle of all the chaos.
Yeah, and yet under that playful surface, he's dealing with his own stuff, survivor's guilt, anxiety about becoming a father, the expectations from his family, from the Firehouse.
It's interesting how the show balances those lighthearted moments with the really serious stuff. It's not all doom and gloom, but it doesn't sugarcoat things either.
That balance is what makes it relatable. These characters, they're heroes, sure, but they're also human. They go through it all. Joy, grief, love, loss, just like the rest of us. It's those shared human experiences that make us connect with them so strongly.
Speaking of connecting, I was really drawn to how Chicago Fire portrays the city itself, almost like another character in the show.
Chicago is definitely more than just a backdrop. It's woven into the story. You see it in the characters, the stories, the grit, the resilience, the diversity. It's all there.
And they actually film on location, don't they? I read that they use real firehouses, real neighborhoods for authenticity.
They do. Yep. And that allows them to address those social issues that are specific to Chicago. Gang violence, poverty, racial tensions, even political corruption. They don't shy away from any of it.
Like that episode where they respond to a fire in a low-income neighborhood and then have to deal with a gang shooting aftermath. It shows the challenges that communities face when they're often ignored or overlooked.
Exactly. And it shows how first responders are often on the front lines of those social issues. They see firsthand the impacts of poverty, inequality, systemic racism. It's a reminder that their job goes way beyond putting out fires.
It's about serving the community, building trust, and advocating for those who need it, all while dealing with their own struggles and that constant danger.
One thing that really impresses me about Chicago Fire is their commitment to getting it right. Not just the firefighting techniques, but the emotional and psychological side of the job, too.
I was reading about that, how they consulted with real Chicago firefighters and paramedics, even trauma therapists,
Yeah.
to make sure they were portraying things accurately.
And you could see it. The way they depict PTSD, for instance, it's nuanced, real. It's not always about one big event. It's the constant stress, the exposure to death and suffering. It wears you down over time.
Yeah, like that scene with Herman, that veteran firefighter. He has this panic attack seemingly out of nowhere. Reminds you that trauma can pop up in unexpected ways and that it can affect anyone, even the most seasoned first responders.
Exactly. And it helps to destigmatize those struggles. It shows that asking for help isn't weak. It's actually a sign of strength and self-awareness. It encourages viewers, especially those in those types of jobs, to take their mental health seriously.
It's a message you don't always see in how first responders are usually portrayed. Chicago Fire manages to entertain, educate, and give us a peek into this world that's both fascinating and so important.
It's a show that celebrates the heroism of everyday people, the bonds that connect them, the sacrifices they make to keep us safe. And it does it all with heart, with humor, with respect for the reality of the job.
But it also gets you thinking bigger, doesn't it? About the things that lead to these emergencies in the first place, the challenges first responders face, how we can support them better.
You're right. It sparks important conversations about how we value these services, the resources they need, and how vital mental health support is to their well-being.
I think that's what makes Chicago Fire more than just a show. It's a catalyst for empathy, for understanding, maybe even for action.
It's a reminder that behind every uniform, every badge, every heroic act is a human being with their own story, their own struggles, but also an unwavering dedication to serving others.
So true. And speaking of those individuals, we haven't even talked about the impact Chicago Fire has had on real-life first responders and the communities they serve.
That's a great point. The show's popularity has definitely raised awareness of their challenges. It's even inspired some people to think about joining those professions. I've heard stories, about people wanting to become firefighters or paramedics.
Yeah.
Or even nurses.
Yeah.
Because they watch Chicago Fire.
Oh, yeah. It sparks that interest.
Right.
It shows you the real impact they have on people's lives.
Definitely. It humanizes the job, shows
Yeah.
the people under the uniform, They're not just robots responding to calls. They're dealing with their own stuff, celebrating, grieving, supporting each other. It's relatable, even inspiring.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond just getting people interested in the job. Chicago Fire has brought attention to important things like fire safety, the importance of smoke detectors, even blood donation. They work these messages right into the stories, and they reach so many people that way.
Right. And don't forget the effect it's had on Chicago itself. The city's in the spotlight, the neighborhoods, the real heroes working to keep it safe. It's like a love letter to Chicago, showing how strong and full of heart it is.
And there's been a real economic impact, too. The show created jobs, helped tourism, even boosted some of the neighborhoods where they film. It's something the city and the people who live there can be proud of.
For sure.
So we've got a show that's entertaining, insightful, and impactful. It's no wonder Chicago Fire has become this cultural phenomenon. It's captured people's attention all over the world.
And it all comes back to that human element. The characters, their relationships, what they go through, that's what pulls us in, is why we keep coming back for more.
It's a show about people running into danger when everyone else runs away. It's about courage, about caring, about that commitment to helping others no matter what.
Exactly. And it reminds us that even when things are tough, there's still hope, there's resilience, and there's a reason to believe in the good in people.
So well said. As we wrap up our deep dive into Chicago Fire, what's the biggest takeaway for our listeners?
I think it's recognizing that heroism isn't about superpowers.
Yeah.
Or these big dramatic things. It's those everyday acts of courage, of compassion, of just doing the right thing, the kind of things we see in these characters, and the kind of things we can all find in ourselves and our communities.
Couldn't have put it better myself. So whether you've been watching Chicago Fire for years or just started, I think we can all agree it's more than just a TV show. It's a reflection of who we are, our capacity for strength and for vulnerability.
It celebrates the heroes all around us and reminds us that even in dark times, there's always light somewhere.
On that note, we'll wrap up this exploration of Chicago Fire. Hope you enjoyed the deep dive.
And if you have thoughts, anything you want to share, head over to social media and use the hashtag #DeepDiveChicagoFire. We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.